Our guest for today is noted writer director Atul Sabharwal, whose latest film Berlin is creating just the right buzz and intrigue. So happy with the response to the film.
Thrilled.
Last time we spoke, you said that every film deserves to be in theaters. So
Right.
what made you change your mind and have it on the OTT platform?
I don't think I changed my mind, but that's a question you'll have to ask Z Studios or Z5.
Okay.
Because these distribution decisions are primarily taken at the studios,
Hmm.
so they originate from there, and which is what they think is best for the film and the revenue. So I think they will be able to shed a better light on.
Hmm. But spy thrillers, as we spoke earlier, too, are normally fast paced, and especially those are that's the kind that work in India mostly. What made you think that a slow burn thriller will work?
I did not think that a slow burn thriller or a fast paced thriller. I think I really enjoy Andhadhun. I enjoy Badlapur. Badlapur is very slow burn, but it worked very well in the theaters. And I have seen that film thrice in theaters, in three different kinds of theaters. So, and Kahani, Vidya Balan's Joy Ghosh's Kahani, that's also, so to say, slow burn thriller, in a very moody Calcutta. So we had a reference point of those films, and that's what my confidence was.
And as we see the film, one can see many challenges in its making. The foremost, of course, being the sign language, the deaf and mute character, uh, and also how, of course, you're a master. You have given us Jubilee as well, which was again a period piece, but directing another period piece. That one, of course, you wrote. What do you think was the biggest challenge from your point of view?
I directed another period piece, which was Class of '83.
Okay.
Yeah, but the challenges, of course, more than the period, because when you're doing period, you also have technicians to help you, whether it's with the art or with the costume or with the look. But sign language was definitely challenging because none of us know it as such, whether me or the actors. So they had to learn it physically, and I had to learn how to film it. Because if they're doing it, but I put a wrong camera angle where their hands are not seen, or are not, or are seen, but their emotions are getting lost. So I had to come up with lens choices so
Mhm.
that there's when they're signing and emoting, both the physical movement and the emotions are captured correctly, and then edited correctly so that it flows smoothly between Ishwak to Apar and from Apar to Rahul and from Rahul to audience.
And both your actors had to learn the sign language.
Yes, thoroughly.
And has anyone come up with? I mean, we are too quick to criticize. Has anyone come up with any sort of criticism or any sign being have been misrepresented?
No, because while we were shooting, we had the sign language interpreter, Miss Shabina Chaudhary, on the set. So if there were any mistakes being done, they were corrected while shooting.
Uh, so it was corrected way back, right?
Yeah. So she was watching it on the monitor, and she was their teacher. They had learned with her for 6 months. So she was seeing it on the spot and correcting if it needed to be. And all the other scenes that you see, except for the garage scene, like the football match, those scenes were shot with deaf mute players and the coach. So they are not actors pretending to be deaf mute. They're deaf mute people acting in film.
And in the movie also somewhere they say, can there be a deaf and mute spy? Can an agency really
Right.
uh, recruit such a person? Have you ever come across an example in life?
I have never come across a spy, forget a deaf mute one. I mean, even if I have, I won't know if the
You
spy.
won't reveal.
So,
So how did the idea come to your mind?
imagination at best. That's all I can say. Reading spy fiction, and as Ashok says, applying common sense.
Mhm.
That's how.
And this is based on your short story, which was published.
I
That
think publishing has happened after the release of the film.
okay, after the
Yeah,
release.
yeah.
But looking, I mean, like I think most of the reviews are very positive, except for one odd, I think. And somewhere it also said that production design is the real hero. You think that is, do you take that as a compliment or you take it in the negative light? This was a rather unkind review, though I must say.
I don't know which review are you talking about, but production design definitely, has to be a hero of such a film, or a period piece. And especially for somebody like me who takes architecture very seriously, especially architecture when it's represented in the film. But, the critic or the reviewer also has to appreciate the fact that architecture also has to be photographed correctly to look right. You can light a building in a wrong way or shoot it in a wrong angle, and the beauty of that architecture will get lost. And not everything is production design. There is also, I think our video has frozen. There is also production, so to say, because when you find the locations and the hard work that you put in getting permissions for those locations is, so let's say we shot at Indian Institute of Forest Management in Bhopal. Now, if we don't put in the hard work to go to that location and shoot, what can the production design do?
Mhm.
So it's a combination for a lot of things, and I think as an afterthought, when a film is being reviewed, people tend to review it in components, but it's actually everything coming together and making it visually, whether you like the story or not, that is secondary, but visually also there are two, three different departments going into it and creating that look.
Actors we all know are the face of cinema. Director again is the captain of the ship. But do you think there is any department that often goes unnoticed?
I think post production in today's time is not been forget giving the due credit. They're not even given due time to finish their things so that their work can shine through, which is one thing I managed to get on this film because I'm also co-producer, and Z Studios was very supportive in that they allowed us to do to have enough time to edit this film correctly and then to do the sound design the way this film deserves, because it's not easy to create silences in sound design. How do you create negative space? And this is what this film needed, creating negative spaces in sound. So to have negative oral is something that had not been tried before, and which is what we tried. And you only can decide whether it's going right or wrong when you're doing it. You can't preempt it and do it. So I would say that like moving forward in future, hope that our editors, our background score composers, and our sound designers and our mixing engineers, they get the time that they deserve, and our colorists, because these are the departments that are always rushed through, not given their due respect, are also most underpaid and work under maximum pressure, because post production is usually working towards deliveries rather than creative fulfillment.
And you had signed Apar Shakti before Jubilee came or simultaneously?
Much before Jubilee came, but he tested for Jubilee before I narrated this film, but it was almost simultaneously.
And in some of your interviews, you also said that Anupriya Goenka's part was the toughest. But many again feel that you gave her a short shrift. I mean, her role should have been more fleshed out. Even you said that the script doesn't give her enough room. So you now on hindsight, you think you could have fleshed her character better, or the mystery was more important.
No, I don't think I could have increased the length of that part.
Hmm.
What I meant was what the detailing that was not there in the script,
Hmm.
because there are no dialogue. is the detailing that she brought to the part, in terms of making those emotions apparent, because she does not have the crutch of the dialogue to convey her emotions. you know. And in Ishwaq's case, at least, he has the device of sign language to
Mm.
convey his emotion or his thought. She does not have anything. So it all relied on body language and facial expressions, which is, truly a mark of an actor or an actress who's doing the job. So that is what I meant by it. That not that I could have increased it or I should have increased it, because any
Uh,
part has to be in the
but, but,
service of the
but
story.
that is one slight minor criticism of the film, that her part is not
No, I
drawn.
don't think parts should be looked in terms of service of a gender. Parts should be looked at whether it's serving the story or not. No.
But what explains your fascination for period?
It's could be, the funders' fascination for period, and that is why those movies get funded when I take those stories. But I do have a natural love for the drama that history brings, or the cusp of history brings. So the cusp of independence from freedom, the colonial bondage to freedom, which is in Jubilee, or from socialist ideology to liberalization in Berlin. Those cusps, or the turns in history, the phases are very, very fascinating to me.
And in the movie, there is a very interesting dialogue, how truth is what gets written and what is documented, rather than the real truth.
Right.
Yeah. And so, how can cinema help in the documentation of real truth? Can it or it can't?
Well, cinema, if it so chooses to be, can be the reflection of its times, and or of the times that have gone by but have not been documented properly, either through fiction or through documentary. I was recently in Delhi, and I picked up a very interesting book. It's called Fiction as History. So
Mm.
the author has traced novels
Uh,
like Sara Akash and Chhuta Sach by
mm,
Yashpal as the documents of history, but which are written as fiction, not as non-fiction. So cinema can equally do the same thing, whether it's a film like The Reader or Berlin or Jubilee or Ramesh Sharma's New Delhi Times, or when uh, Sai Paranjpe is depicting Chaul life in the 80s in Katha, or when Govind Nilani is depicting a policeman's life in Arth Satya.
mm,
When most of these people are gone,
mm.
and you can't find enough documentaries on Mumbai cops unless those are discovered, which are lying in the films division's vault, which we saw when we were doing Class of 83. These
Yes.
are the films that will become people's reference points of, like, when we were doing Class of 83, it was so difficult to find what the era looked like, that Vijeta, Govind Nilani's Vijeta, Govind Nilani's Arth Satya, and Shyam Benekal's Kalyug. They gave us an idea what Bombay was, apart
Mm.
from one or two documentaries by Mani Kaul and whatever was there in the films division.
So, relatively creating 1993 was easier
Relative to what?
relative to Class of 83.
Class
Or
of 83 was 83, so
yeah,
it was just a decade. Yeah. No,
yeah.
I mean, nothing was easy and nothing was difficult. As long as you have great technicians working with you and who know their job and are committed, things happen for better.
And off the sets, uh, rather behind the camera, no, not behind the camera, but rather off the sets itself. What happens जब मिल बैठे तीन पंजाबी यार?
I think we devoured on pinnies that used to come from Abar's house. Being a true Chandigarhian Punjabi, he loved feeding pinnies.
Yeah.
The pinnies that his mother makes are really, really delicious. No halwai can outdo.
And apart from Pinnies, what else found you and your two Punjabi actors, Ishwaq and Apar
I
Shakti?
think food was our main bondage, apart from the creative process that we were in. because either we would go out to eat or meet to eat, and in Appar's case, it would be meet to eat sweets, you know. So that's what it was. But food was the main bonding factor. Still is.
Uh, often for actors say that script is the Bible. For someone who also writes and directs, is it the same for you?
I won't say it's a Bible, but it's a blueprint that one should stick by. So you can't change the basic engineering of it. You can definitely, fill the spaces with better ideas, which are not the domain of the paper, but are the domain of actual doing. But I don't doubt the blueprint. I don't live in the doubt of that. I don't think that, you should go on the set or on the location or on the construction site, as if one may refer to it, so that to change things.
But the layering that we see in Berlin, I mean, there isn't really one truth, but one can,
All that layering is in the script.
is in the script.
Yes.
So what exactly is the director's job then?
Is to make sure that that layering comes through when you translate it from page to visual, and when from visual to images which are assembled together in editing. That's what a director's job is.
And when do we get to see Jubilee 2 and the much promised Punjabi film as well?
Punjabi film, so I don't know, but Jubilee 2, hopefully, I don't know when to get see, but we are working on it. It's in development.
But you've done your part. Have you written it?
No, I'm still doing my part.
Okay,
It's not easy.
it's still in the writing phase.
Yes.
Would you care to write a Punjabi film or just simply write and direct or only direct?
So I would love to write and direct a Punjabi film. That
Can,
is
can
my.
you can you write in? I mean, do you know Punjabi?
I don't know
The written
Gurmukhi.
language?
I don't know Gurmukhi. I can't read or write, but I can speak Punjabi very well.
Hmm.
I mean, if in school we used to write Hindi is my mother tongue, then Punjabi is my grandmother tongue. So
At the would you ਕੁਝ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਕਹੋਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਰਲਿਨ ਨਾ ਦੇਖੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਹਲੇ ਤੱਕ
ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਪੀਲ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਕਿ ਬਰਲਿਨ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਦੇਖੋ। ਬਰਲਿਨ Z5 ਤੇ ਅਵੇਲੇਬਲ ਹੈ। ਐਂਡ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਪਿਆਰ, ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਨਮਸਕਾਰ। ਐਂਡ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਸਿਨੇਮਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੋ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਉਹ Z5 ਤੇ ਆਏ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਪਲੇਟਫਾਰਮ ਤੇ ਆਏ, ਤੇ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਉਹ ਸਿਨੇਮਾ ਚ ਆਏ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਹੋਏ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਚ ਹੋਏ, ਪਰ ਕਹਾਣੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੋ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਰਹੋ ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਰਹੋ।
ਤੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਕੀ what next can we expect from you?
I hope a good story. That is what the effort always is, and
nothing less than that we can expect from you.
I hope so. So striving towards that.
Any film that you are like kind of you wish you hadn't written or could have written it differently?
From my films?
Yes, yes.
No, I think what there's a great line that George Bernard Shaw says is that nobody else should have the right to change any other writer's work, and that includes the older self of the same writer.
Okay. Okay.
So if I wrote something in my 20s, I should not be allowed to change that in my 40s. The mistakes and the strengths and the weaknesses, whatever it has, is the representative of my thought of that time. So nothing.
So written in stone in a way.
At least, yeah, as a responsibility, yes.
And what else? I mean, apart from Jubilee, what else can we expect from you?
There are a couple of conversations going on, but I think they will be announced on those relevant platforms that those projects are affiliated to. I don't think it will be right to announce them on this Z.
Another spy thriller?
No, I'm not working on any spy. I have finished writing a show, which is a spy action show. It was for Sony Live, but that's on a standby as of now because it's very big budget, and Sony Live sort of does not have the kind of bandwidth at the moment.
So will you be directing it too?
Yes, that is my favorite subject. It's on the insurgency of 1984.
On the
Insurgency of 1984.
oh, okay, okay. So, but that always irks people. How are you going to handle it?
I don't know how will we handle it or something. And I think, see, ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਜ਼ਖਮ ਕੁਰੇਦੋਗੇ ਤੇ
Hmm.
ਉਹ ਅਰਕ ਤੇ ਕਰੇਗਾ,
Hmm.
ਬਟ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਜ਼ਖਮ ਖੁਰੇਦੋਗੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਭਰੇਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ। ਹੈ ਨਾ? ਤਾਂ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਹੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਆਰਟਿਸਟ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਫੀਲਡ ਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਅਗਰ ਤੇ ਜ਼ਖਮ ਭਰਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ
Hmm.
ਖੁਰੇਦੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਪਰਸਪੈਕਟਿਵ ਨਾਲ ਰੀ-ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਿਨ ਕਰੇ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਿਰ देयर आर इट माइट अर्क पीपल, ਬਟ ਪੋਸਟੈਰਿਟੀ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਜ਼ਰੀਆ, ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਤੇ ਹੋਏਗੀ ਨਾ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। So
Hmm.
those are the thoughts, and I don't think any artist should be scared of irking people, because then though it is very convenient. You can't just keep making stories which will keep making people happy. फिर ते कहानियां दा relevancy खत्म हो जाएगा।
But
Wherever
people are
history falls short, fiction has to fill in.
but people are so easily offended these days, either this way or that way. Is it going to be an objective account, a subjective account, many sides, many all facets of the insurgency?
It is, I think, once that story comes out, if that story comes out, only then one will be able to talk more holistically about it.
Hmm.
But I'm saying in general, one can't just keep thinking about लोग क्या सोचेंगे,
Hmm.
आप अपना काम करो, बाकी बाबे दी मेहर।
But but as a writer director, is there something that you will go all out to ensure or take care of?
The sincerity towards the story
Hmm.
and my vision, nothing else.
And this is a project that will take some time.
I think so. I think so.
And do we get to see Punjabi actors in this?
Only Punjabi actor. It has a Sikh protagonist. So
Okay. So is there some kind of a loyalty bond here? Earlier we saw Bobby Deol in class of 83.
no, not like that.
Yes or no?
No, I'm saying not like that. Not
Not really.
yeah.
But you're watching them closely, right?
Watching whom closely.
Punjabi actors.
I have not started that. Only when it goes into production is when we will think about it.
Hmm.
Because actors who are in their 20s now will become maybe 25 if we start that after 5 years, or who are in their mid 20s now will become 30. So we start casting only when we are close to the production of that project.
Are you saying it will take another 5 years before we see
I
this?
don't know when will it happen, is what I'm saying. I'm saying that's one thing that is, because you asked me specifically about Punjab. So
Uh-huh.
that's one
Right,
thing
right.
that I have written and ready, and it was to be on a platform. But yeah, the very concerns that you're sharing are also the concerns that any corporate goes through, and those are being evaluated.
But for the sake of I mean Punjab and Punjabis, I hope it comes out very soon.
I hope so.
And also anything that's coming out soon.
Yes, comes out soon.
What is that?
From my projects,
Yes, yes.
see, we are still working on something. There's nothing that I'm shooting at the moment. I was busy with Berlin and then writing this show that I told you about. So now I'll gear my focus towards what can be put into production next.
Mhm. And final question, of course, critics have critics write in their own way. They've said so many things, so many good things about the movie Berlin. But from a viewer, have you received any one compliment that has stayed with you, and what would that be?
My mother hated Rahul Bose after watching Berlin.
Huh?
My mother hated Rahul Bose after watching Berlin. I think that was a huge compliment. And my mother has no clue about politics or Cold War of that time or anything in the history. So if she ended up being invested in the film so much that she hated Rahul Bose by the end of it, or the character rather, then that
Yeah,
was
yeah, he is very good.
Ji.
Right, Mr. Sabharwal, on hoping to see more of your work very soon.
Thank you, Ji. I'm hoping
So
so.
Berlin took a long time before we actually saw it and before you made it. I hope there is no such long hiatuses in future, and we see
Bade
you
Mooj Ghee Shakkar.
your
Thank you.
work very soon. And we are all looking forward to Jubilee Part 2 for sure.
Thank you so much.